Hey everybody, it's your old buddy Uncle Rich here for Who's Telling the Truth. Guys, today is show number 248. Judy, can you bring up our show number? And the name of the show is Ass Backwards. And you're going to say, Rich, come on. The name of the show is Ass Backwards? Yeah. Why? Guys, it's one of my favorite sayings. It's what happens when you watch Fox. You tend to get everything ass backwards. And who watches Fox more than anybody else? Our dear leader, the president. But guys, before we go any further, because a lot of people are saying, Rich, you're going to talk about the wall, right? Right? I mean, you're going to talk about Trump's crushing defeat. Guys, yeah, I'm going to put a little salt in the wound. But you know what? First, I want to make things perfectly clear, just as Richard Nixon would say. I want to make things perfectly clear. So, Judy, let's see how clear we can get with video number 1. And this is a short one, so hit it.
The mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border security.
But we believe you shouldn't shut it down.
Thank you very much, everybody.
So guys, you heard that, right? He's going to shut it down for border security. Well, all right, wait, just to plant this further, because I might have to edit that a little bit, Judy. Let's play that clip again so that this is indelibly impressed on everybody's mind on who's responsible for this shutdown. So Judy, video number 1, please.
So I will take the mantle. I will be the one to shut it down. I'm not going to blame you for it. The last time you shut it down, it didn't work. I will take the mantle of shutting down. And I'm going to shut it down for border security.
But we believe you shouldn't shut it down.
Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, so guys, why do you think Trump decided to change his mind? Do you think the polls had something to do with it? Judy, let's bring up still number 02. And guys, this is the most recent polls before Trump changed his mind. So still number 2, please. All right, now guys, take a look at this. It says, and I don't know why that came off the screen like that, but I'm going to put this up on my computer. And guys, it says, which do you want President Trump to do now? And guys, what they probably did with Trump is they probably showed him the very beginning of the chart, and they said, look, Mr. President, 66% of the people agree to a budget. See that, Mr. President? 66% agree to a budget, and only 31% refuse it. So, Judy, come back to me. So, guys, you think they gave Trump the double reverse? And that's why he changed his mind and he decided to pay the 800,000 workers that he stiffed? And, guys, Trump said, and you heard, he wants border security. Well, guys, there's a lot of different ways to get border security, and we don't need a concrete barrier. And the unfortunate thing is Trump thinks he knows things that other people don't. And you're going to say, oh, Rich, stop. But then, guys, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to let you hear it from the horse's mouth. So, Judy, clip number 3, please.
I know more about drones than anybody. I know about every form of safety that you can have. And it's all good, but it's just very minor compared to the power of a wall.
All right, Judy, can you play that again? The beginning didn't, and a little volume, Kurt.
I know more about drones than anybody.
I know more about drones than anybody.
Safety that you can have.
You know more about everything than anybody.
Just very minor compared to the power of a wall.
Well, guys, now we have to start learning new terminology because we have new technology So now we have to learn new terminology. And the new terminology is UAVs. And you're going to go, Rich, UAVs? What's a UAV? Guys, a UAV is an unmanned aerial vehicle. And guess what? In order to fly one, you don't need a ladder. You don't need this. You don't need to tunnel. Guys, you can just fly the drugs over the border. I mean, over the wall. So do we need a wall or do we need better technology? And after this clip, you're going to go, Rich, I hear you loud and clear. We don't need a wall. We need better technology. So, Judy, let's have video number 3. Video number 4, please. Mexican cartels are allegedly using drones. Border Patrol in San Diego arrested. Agents caught him taking 13 pounds of meth. You believe this, guys? Due to the agents' heightened vigilance, the drone smuggling scheme was stopped. Unmanned aerial UAVs from Mexico into the United States. Like, it's easier than getting cleared. You don't have to dig tunnels. Agents said they spotted the drone as it came across the border and followed it to its landing spot. They found 25-year-old Jorge Edwin waiting for the delivery. What is it, Amazon? Revere admitted, and he said he would make $1,000 if he delivered it to Primo. Hey, that's not a bad job, huh? You watch the drone land, give the stuff to Primo. Hey. Our dear leader thinks that we need walls. And it's just sad. I mean, it's really sad that it's gotten to the point where we have a president that isn't smart enough to understand what's going on. And guys, you know, just to give Trump the business, you know, he wrote, supposedly, he wrote a book called The Art of the Deal. So Judy, can you bring up I think it's number 6, with The Art of the Deal, which was written with Tony Schwartz. So let's see. So there you go. So guys, you could see, and on the bottom, Donald Trump with Tony Schwartz. Well, guys, we've had Tony Schwartz, clips from Tony Schwartz on the show many times. And if anything, Tony Schwartz would now call this the art of the cave. So Judy, show us number 7. And guys, go back to number 6, Judy. Look at this, guys. He's just a con man. We go from the art of the deal to the art of the cave. And guys, what does that do when we go to the art of the cave? Well, the Daily News, one of the biggest newspapers in New York, came up with our next still. And what did they do? They called Trump a caveman. So Trump, let's see, Trump blinks in standoff with Dems over wall to end 35-day government shutdown. Caveman. And guys, let's be honest with each other. Judy, come back to me. Everyone will admit he caved unless you're listening to one of the Foxtitudes. And who's one of my favorite Foxtitudes? Judy, nope, my papers are getting all blown over here. So one of my favorite Foxtitudes is video number 8, and this will be with Judge Janino. So let's hear what she has to say.
He did not cave. He made a tactical decision, a strategy decision to pick the ground to fight on. He chose to stop the fight today to fight another day. And that day will be February 15th.
So you heard it from the horse's mouth. Judy, once more, just the first 5 seconds of that. Let's listen to Judge Janine. Just the first 5 seconds. Loud and clear. Hit it.
He did not cave.
He did
He
not
made a tactical
cave.
decision.
That's it. Got it? All right, Judy. And then we're going to continue to move on. And guys, you know, when a caveman doesn't cave, what does he do? So, Judy, let's prove our point with still number 9, please. And you could see our caveman Trump. There he goes, taking away the Statue of Liberty. And guys, if there's one thing a caveman needs to have, it's something to put on his head, right? So, Judy, let's show what he should be wearing on his head. Clip number 2. Let's make America ape again. And guys, you know, there's a lot of people that support Trump that believe we didn't descend from apes. But that's another show for another day. Today we're going to have more fun with still number 11. And Judy punched that one up. And guys, the MAGA hat is the new socially acceptable Klanhood. And guys, you know, people say, Rich, that's strong. Hey, you know what? If you saw that kid with that Indian, we need strong medicine. I mean, here he was, you know, making fun of an Indian medicine man, and he had the look of a stone-cold robot on his face. But anyway, you know, you can fool me once. And Judy, let's go to the next still. You can fool me once, shame on you. You can fool me twice, shame on me. But fool me 1,000 times, I must be a Trump supporter. And guys, could Judy come back to me? Can you possibly have any more questions? You got guys like Kenny Johnson and Uncle Joey. They don't care how often they get fooled. They think that being tricked is the way we're supposed to learn. And Ken Johnson is he's my homeschooled simple folk friend. And guys, if there's one person that had something to say about everybody, it's with our next still, and it's George Carlin. And just think about what he had to say. And Judy, so can we go to the George Carlin still? And think about how stupid the average person is. Just think about how stupid the average person is, and then realize that half of them are stupider than that. Judy? Guys, I mean, is it unbelievable or isn't it? And you got guys that are willing to profess their stupidity. Why? Because they want to back Trump. Why they want to back him, I don't know. Because Trump's not a Democrat? That's the only thing I can possibly think of. Because with the next still, we're going to show you that Trump's success stories are few and far between. So, Judy, let's have the next still, please. And look, Trump's success stories. I'm the best businessman in the world because I know how to negotiate. He bought the Trump Plaza Hotel for $400 million, was repossessed by the bank. He bought his yacht, $29 million, repossessed by the bank. He built 4 casinos at a cost of $3 billion. Hey, Donnie, you could have used that money for the wall. Filed for bankruptcy and went out of business. He stiffed contractors and employees. Started Trump Airlines, never made a profit. Planes and helicopters were repossessed by Citibank. Trump Mortgage, Trump Vodka, and Trump Steaks all went out of business. Judy, come back to me. And what was his biggest failure, aside from becoming president? Trump University. He had to, remember, he said he never settles. He never settles a lawsuit. What did he settle that for? $25 million. And you got the guys that support him that will stand. They don't care. They just don't care. They like being hustled by a Republican. And guys, the next clip we're going to show you goes to show you why we need health care and why we need Medicare for all in the United States. Judy, bring up the next still, please. Guys, look at this. The number of people who go bankrupt every year because of medical bills. United States, 643,000. You notice zeros in all the other countries there, guys? Do you know why that is? Do you know why they have no bankruptcies and we have 643? Judy, come back to me. Guys, it's because they have a form of socialized medicine. That's right. That's right. They put the money into a big pot and they all share it. And they put it to good for the use of the country. And this is something that we have to start getting used to. Because the one thing that we're going to find, and you know, we said tonight, how does Fox trick the simple folk? Well, guys, this is one of the ways they do it. And watch. Just watch how vehemently they are against socialism, and Bill Maher will do a beautiful job of explaining it. So, Judy, can we have video number 22, please?
All right, new rule. New rule. Someone has to tell right-wing media that we got the message about how socialism is bad and the proof is Venezuela. Socialism equals Venezuela. Got it. There's socialism in Venezuela. Venezuela is socialist, and it's bad in Venezuela. Socialist Venezuela, where there are socialists in Venezuela. I believe you, okay? Steve Ducey hates socialism. Now, prove he can find Venezuela on a map.
Guys, let's be honest with each other. You know, the people that watch Fox News aren't too smart. And I tell you, I'll bet you most of them don't even know what that whole thing was. They won't know that it's a continent and it's South America. But hey, and you wonder why I have so much fun doing this show. Guys, the next clip is Bill Maher, and he explains, just listen to how Fox does it so that they try to keep the news away from the simple folk. And that's why they tend to get everything ass backwards. Because look at the time delay about what happened and how long Fox took to even respond to it, and look at the way they responded to it. And they barely put a little footnote on their Fox site. So guys, watch how they do it and watch how they trick the simple folk so that they don't get the news, they get the Fox and the Republican agenda. So Judy, clip number 23, please.
What I hear people say on TV is, well, when the people got a hold of the information, they finally turned on Nixon. I don't think that's ever going to happen, because there's something that exists now that didn't happen, that we didn't have in Watergate times, which is Fox News. Now, there was an ISIS attack pretty much on the day that Mike Pence was bragging about how we defeated ISIS, and after Trump has been saying that for weeks now, killed 4 Americans. If this was Obama as president, this would have been on the top of the Fox News feed. Okay, we monitored this. 9:30 in the morning, here's the headline from the New York Times. Here it is, the Washington Post. They all have it. There's the Reuters, U.S. troops killed in attack.
The Post, Reuters.
Fox News had nothing. 9:30, 10:30, 11:30, did not even report it. We don't report, so you can't decide. Finally, at 11:45, there we go. Is it at the top of their feed? No. We heard about Catherine McPhee's wedding dress and Michael Jackson and Macaulay Culkin. It was like way down at the bottom in small print. There it is, see?
Can you believe this, guys?
That's the difference. whatever he does, they won't hear about it, about a third.
Well, they will. Look, I agree. Fox News is a disgrace. It is. I like to turn on, whenever something bad has happened to Trump, I'd like to turn on to Fox News to see what else they are talking about. They have a whole, they must have a top list of topics to get
I
off
do
of
the
that.
same
It's
thing,
usually
guys.
Hillary or the caravan.
By the way,
I do
in
the
terms of
exact
what they would have done
same
to
thing.
Obama, compare this to the Benghazi issue. Look at what they did with Hillary. I think the same number of people were killed, sadly.
Exactly.
But here's the thing about Fox News is, yeah, they're a disgrace. But nobody has ever been forced to watch Fox News at the point of a gun. Maybe at the point of something else for Roger Ailes, but not at the point of a gun.
You got people that want to hear this nonsense.
That's just where you were going with that.
The problem we have, this is why I don't want to impeach him. I want to go on and defeat him politically. There are people who have unfortunately become so angry that they are vulnerable to a Russian propaganda, vulnerable to a Fox News, and ready to believe nonsense, not notice the bias. And that's what I think we have to deal with. And I don't think you get rid of that by removing Trump from office. If you do that without the election, I think you make it worse.
All right.
Guys, I think he's got a very valid point. We got to let this play out until Trump's base says, adios, arrivederci, because I tell you, Uncle Joey's been very, very quiet. So there are certain things that are starting to really gnaw at him. And guys, this next clip is really going to gnaw at him because it's about wealth redistribution, something he hates. And it's about, if you seem to think that the economic game is rigged, the reason is because it is. And guys, the next clip is, we're going to show you the short version. We'll play the longer version a little bit later, but this is going to get you going. So anyway, Judy, let's get everybody going with number 24. And guys, you're not going to believe how wealth creates wealth. So hit it, Judy.
Conservative donors Sheldon and Miriam Adelson, whose casino business received an estimated $700 million windfall thanks to Trump and Republicans' tax cuts. The couple then used some of this cash to plow more than $113 million into the 2018 election, breaking the record for political contributions by a single household. A $700 million return on a $100 million investment, well, that's not bad for them.
$700 million return on a $100 million investment. You see how it's done? Simple. One hand washes the other. Hey, I'm going to feather your bed. I'm going to make sure you got enough money to get reelected. And what are you going to do for me? You're going to give me tax breaks. So I'm going to give you $100 million worth of campaign financing, and you give me $700 million in tax breaks. Done deal? The Republican Party, plain and simple. And guys, you know, finally, people are starting to wise up. And I want to tell you, Elizabeth Warren came up with a new tax plan where nobody can run. Well, no, they can run, but they can't hide because it's all about asset accumulations. So if you have an asset like, what's his name, Dan Snyder, who owns the Washington Redskins, just bought a lavish, I don't know, $70 million yacht. I don't know how much it was. It's so big, it's got its own IMAX theater in it. Guys, when you have an asset like that, you pay tax on all your asset. You can't hide it anymore. And if you don't like what's going on, you're going to move out of the country, you got to take your assets with you, toodles. So what would you rather do? Would you rather pay a little tax on your asset and stay here? Well, we'll protect you and take care of you. Or you want to go to Botswana or Romania or Ecuador? or Venezuela. But guys, let's take a look at Elizabeth Warren plan, and this is the way, this is the ultra millionaire tax. Now listen, wait a minute. You know, our good buddy Marty, who did his show before us, you know, I told him, I said, Marty, you're going to have to start worrying a little bit, because anybody that has assets over $50 million, you're going to have to pay tax on it. And Marty goes, oh, man, I'm so lucky. I'm in the 49 bracket. Guys, how much money? In order to have, I mean, I can't imagine having $49 million worth of wealth. I once did a house down in New Canaan, 22,000 square feet. I can't imagine living in a house any bigger. So what kind of house does Dan Snyder live in? He doesn't. He lives in a yacht. So Judy, let's see what happens with Warren's ultra millionaire tax. 25, hit it.
We need structural change. That's why I'm proposing something brand new, a tax on wealth. I'm calling it the ultra millionaires tax, and it just applies to that tippy top 0.1%. Those with net worth above $50 million.
Above
it would make the
$50 million
and generate nearly $3 trillion over the next 10 years.
All right. So it'll generate $3 trillion over the next 10 years. Judy, come back to me. And guys, how can you argue with that? Uh-oh, I think we better get candy again. So anyway, how could you argue with something like that? You can't. But CNN went so far as to take it a step further. And they clearly identify it with a little bit more specificity. So we're going to play that clip. And guys, don't forget, we're going to play the full clips as we progress through the show. This is just to wet your whistle, so to speak. So anyway, Judy, let's have clip number 26, please.
Talk to me about this ultramillionaire tax.
Yeah, so this is a wealth tax on everyone with a net worth of over $50 million. There would be a 2% tax on households with a net worth between $50 million and $1 billion, and then a 3% tax on households with net worth exceeding $1 billion. They're calling the billionaire surtax.
Over $1 billion,
they
you pay
have
3%.
already run this by at least two economists who work at UC Berkeley. This is what the Warren team is telling us, and they estimate that this wealth tax would affect some 75,000 American households, less than 0.1% of American households, and would raise around $2.75 trillion over a 10-year period.
Guys, you know, the beauty of this is even Dana Perino on Fox News, had to admit that this was a good idea. And when Fox News starts admitting that tax is a good idea, the lid's about to come off. And guys, you know, once again, we'll listen to Dana, and she just puts her cards on the table. So here's the short clip, and we'll play the longer one later. Judy, number 27, please.
I tell you where I think the Democrats have a good point on the economic argument against President Trump. The way you hear them frame it, and I think the Republicans better pay attention to this, it's that there was a tax cut was for the rich. It absolutely helped the rich. You look at the stock market, look at what the companies did. They bought stock back. They didn't reinvest. You have billionaires that are wealthier. You have wages that have only gone up 2%.
Knock it off, Dana.
I'm just telling you, If you read Mary Ann Marsh, she's often frequently seen on Fox News. She writes at foxnews.com. She writes a piece this week that I think they have a way to make an economic argument against President Trump, and the Republicans better pay attention.
Okay, we love when you give advice to
Republicans
Democrats,
better pay attention. Guys, the Republicans better pay attention. They don't pay attention to nothing. They only know about one thing, putting more money in the pockets of their contributors, their donors. That's all they know about. Hey, you take care of me, I take care of you. And guys, what's starting to happen is AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and I'll just say AOC to keep it simple, she's starting to ruffle some feathers, and she's forcing Fox out of the studio and into the streets. And when you hear the response from the average guy on the street, you're going to go, wait a minute, maybe they got something with this tax cuts for the millionaires and the billionaires. So, Judy, let's prove my point with clip number 28.
Again, a lot of conservative Republicans laughed at Ocasio-Cortez. I don't think this is a laughing matter. She is winning when it comes to drawing more people in. I think we should be concerned, especially for the younger generation, which I cover all the time. She may not win the next two presidential elections, but there is a swing to socialism, and she's getting a lot of support. We should take her seriously.
And I asked you before you sat down here, when you go out on the street, you have to talk to a lot of people. That was the prevailing sentiment. She has a lot of support.
Not one person disagreed with her.
Not one.
Not one. She is representing her district. I would take her very seriously. They support this woman because they believe that she's fighting for them.
Hard to believe, huh? Not one person in the street disagreed with her. Guys, how can you disagree when people have wealth in excess of anything even remotely reasonable? Hey, you want to have a nice boat, you worked hard, I can understand that. But to have a $70 million cabin cruiser, you know, that you need, I mean, come on. When does it end? When does it end? And, you know, hopefully, you know, Bill sat down with Ann Coulter, and guys, Ann Coulter was virtually responsible. Her and Rush Limbaugh were responsible for getting Trump to change his mind. You know, and he's the one, she's the one that more or less called Trump a wimp. And that's why he shut down the government. And if you want to prove it, you know, you can go back to our last show and you can look it up on YouTube. But now we're going to show you Ann and Bill talking on the set of Real Time. So, Judy, let's have number 29, please.
He starts with a lie. I see a lot of the Dems. He's in the middle of his own sentence when he then goes, almost all of them. You see? He builds on his own lie from 2 seconds before. He is not sane.
You know,
he is not a sane person. Really. He convinces himself of his own reality. That is so dangerous.
A president who doesn't deal with reality. And guys, you know, what he was referring to, you know, Trump said in the tweet, he said, I see a lot of Dems. And almost all of them are voting Republican. So he starts with the lie that he sees a lot of Dems, because he doesn't. And then he enhances the lie by insinuating that most of them are going with him. And if you remember the beginning of the show, we showed you the graph where 2 out of 3 people think he's nuts and don't want a wall. But guys, keep in mind what Bill Maher just said and listen how it trickles down to Nick Mulvaney, and listen how he repeats virtually verbatim what Trump has been spewing. And just listen how it gets repeated. So, Judy, number 30, please. Listen close.
Why he did what he did was because many Democrats had come to us, some of them privately, many of them spoke out publicly, that they're actually starting to agree with him on the necessity for a barrier on the southern border. And they had come to us and said, look, We agree with you. You're winning the battle on the importance of a barrier on the southern border, but we simply cannot work with you while the government is open. That's a marked difference, while the government was closed. Yeah. That's a marked.
So guys, you heard it, right? Many Dems have come to us, and most of them agree with us. And you get Uncle Joey and Ketty Johnson sitting home going, see, most of them agree with us. Well, they don't. And if you were a critical thinker, you wouldn't be thinking about them either. But guys, I tell you, that's what makes this show so much fun, because we really get a chance and an opportunity to give the old bada bing. And the next clip is going to be from when we started with Adelson. If the game seems rigged, it's because it is. And guys, just sit there. This is one of those smoke if you got 'em clips. But guys, you'll see how these guys, people with money, with power, how they buy what they want. And I'm telling you, this nonsense has got to stop. So Judy, let's have clip number 34, please.
The most important thing we must do is get big money out of politics. It's a prerequisite to accomplishing everything else. Today, big money continues to corrupt American politicians, creating a vicious cycle that funnels more wealth and democracy. In the 2018 midterm elections, wealthy donors and super PACs poured millions into the campaigns of the same lawmakers who voted to pass the 2017 tax cuts, which gave them huge windfalls. Consider conservative donors Sheldon and Miriam Adelson, whose casino business received an estimated $700 million windfall thanks to Trump and Republicans' tax cuts. The couple then used some of this cash to plow more than $113 million into the 2018 election, breaking the record for political contributions by a single household. A $700 million return on a $100 million investment, well, that's not bad for them. All told, almost 40% of total contributions in the 2018 midterms came from people who donated $10,000 or more. These mega donors comprise a minuscule 1/100th of 1% of the U.S. population. It's an endless cycle. Lawmakers cut taxes and slash regulations for their wealthy campaign donors. Mega donors and corporations then funnel some of that money back into our political system to keep their lackeys in power. Politicians then propose another round of tax cuts, subsidies, or bailouts to secure even more donations next time. If this isn't corruption, I don't know what is. And it breeds cynicism in our democracy. The game seems rigged because it is. A 2015 poll found that the majority of Americans say lawmakers are corrupt, out of touch with their constituents, beholden to special interests. In the 2018 midterms, Americans demanded an end to the corruption, and thankfully there are signs lawmakers are finally getting the message. We've got to end this vicious cycle in order to reclaim our democracy. We must get big money out of politics now.
Guys, you see how it works? I mean, you see how it works. Tit for tat. Like I used to say to my daughter all the time, one hand washes the other. And this is what they do. Hey, I'll take care of you, you take care of me, all right? Yeah. And what about the working guy? Ah, the hell with the working guy. We got to worry about ourselves. How are we going to maintain those yachts? And guys, with Elizabeth Warren's new tax plan, there's no running. Well, like I said, you can run. There's no hiding. So let's watch the full clip and let's see. And I'm telling you, most people, most ordinary working class people are going to favor this idea of a tax. So Judy, let's have clip number 35, please.
The rich and powerful run Washington. They
The
write
Koch
the rules of our
brothers, there they
economy
are.
and our government to benefit themselves.
There you
and here's
go.
one benefit for the ultra-rich. After making a killing from the economy they've rigged, they don't pay taxes on that accumulated wealth. Just think about two
Accumulated
people.
wealth.
Someone inherits $500 million worth of yachts and jewelry and fine arts, and a public school teacher with no savings in the bank. They both bring home $50,000 and they both pay the same amount in federal taxes,
guys.
despite their vastly different circumstances. Now that's a system that's rigged for the top.
You got it.
We need structural change. That's why I'm proposing something brand new, a tax on wealth. I'm calling it the ultra millionaires tax, and it just applies to that tippy top 0.1%. Those with net worth above $50 million. It would make the ultra-rich pay their fair share and generate nearly $3 trillion over the next 10 years. You know, that's money we can invest in rebuilding America's middle class, in universal child care, in college debt forgiveness, in a Green New Deal to fight our climate crisis. Our economy shouldn't just work for a small sliver at the top. It should work for everyone. And that means structural change and a willingness to fight for it.
Guys, who can argue with that? You can't, unless you've got so much money. But if you got so much money, would you really care if some of it's gone? Are you really going to miss seeing any of it? You know? And how was the wealth generated? What did they use to generate that wealth? Did they use the roads, the bridges, the highways, the tunnels, the airports? Did they use all the stuff that we built together as a nation when we had back in the 50s, when we had close to a 90% cap, when Eisenhower, a Republican, when we built the interstate systems and we prospered, and a middle class family could go on vacation and buy a new car every 3 years and live in a house? Why? Because all the profit wasn't going to the top. It was going back to the people that helped generate it. You know? It wasn't going to the shareholders. It was going to the people on the assembly line. We took care of each other. We had unions. We had health care. And guys, let's take it one step further, because CNN did a nice job, and they're going to explain it a little bit in a little bit better detail, so you'll get a better idea how this tax is going to work, or how you would like to see it work. So Judy, let's have clip 36, please.
Talk to me about this ultra-millionaire tax.
Yeah, so this is a wealth tax on everyone with a net worth of over $50 million. There would be a 2% tax on households with a net worth between $50 million and $1 billion, and then a 3% tax on households with net worth exceeding $1 billion. This they're calling the billionaire surtax. They have already run this by at least two economists who work at UC Berkeley. This is what the Warren team is telling us. And they estimate that this wealth tax would affect some 75,000 American households, less than 0.1% of American households, and would raise around $2.75 trillion over a 10-year period. While we go through sort of the nitty-gritty details of this draft plan, I think it's important to talk about the political significance of this. This is everything to do with the concentration of wealth in this country. That has been a key message that we have heard from Senator Elizabeth Warren for a very long time. We expect this to be at the very core of her progressive platform as she eventually, we expect her to formally announce her presidential campaign. So in a lot of ways, it is not surprising that this would be the first sort of policy, major policy proposal that we see coming out of her camp. And this is the senator sort of planting an early flag, right, on an issue that we expect to really dominate the 2020 field on the Democratic side, because so much of the battle that we see on that side is going to be between sort of the progressive candidates and how far left they are willing to go, what kind of progressive platforms and policy ideas they are willing to embrace, and then the candidates who are considered more centrist. So that battle, I think, is the one that she is setting up with this policy proposal.
So guys, I think it's kind of self-evident. And just to prove our point further, the next clip is from the 5. And I try to watch the 5 every day at 5. Why? Because Juan Williams is on. And Juan Williams is one of my favorites on Fox. Him and Shepard Smith are virtually the only 2 people on Fox that I trust. But we're going to show you Dana Perino is sending up warning signs that, hey, wait a minute. The Republican Party's in for a rude awakening if they don't get the idea that people are going to want to start taxing the ultra-rich. And you could say, just listen to the response from the people at the table, and you'll get an idea of why I like Juan Williams so much. So, Judy, let's have clip number 37, please. All right.
Is the intellectual leader of the left.
That's sad, Dana.
And the polls are backing that up. And they're all having to respond to her. We'll see how they handle their Donald Trump, right? I just said in the break that I would love to sit next to President Obama
74% of Dems would consider
like
voting for
and to hear
Ocasio.
what he thinks, because it would be interesting to hear. Some of her ideas, right, it's not just that they're unaffordable, it's that they're bad ideas. And so then how do you counter those bad ideas? Even if they are directionally true in her mind, then you've got to explain why they're bad ideas, and we could give you a million examples. I'm going to tell you where I think the Democrats have a good point on the economic argument against President Trump. The way you hear them frame it, and I think the Republicans better pay attention to this, it's that there was a tax cut was for the rich. It absolutely helped the rich. You look at the stock market, look at what the companies did. They bought stock back. They didn't reinvest.
They bought their stock back.
You have billionaires that are wealthier. You have wages that have only
so they
gone
made
up
more
2%.
money.
Knock it off, Dana.
I'm just telling you, if you read Mary Ann Marsh, she is often frequently seen on Fox News. She writes at foxnews.com. She writes a piece this week that I think they have a way to make an economic argument against President Trump, and the Republicans better pay attention.
Okay, we love when you give advice to Democrats, Dana. Don't we?
They don't take it. Nobody
Juan never listens. He never listens.
Are you kidding? I think she's terrific. I mean, to me, the interesting part here is the tax on people who make more than $10 million, because that was so widely condemned as inviting us to be the next Venezuela and a toilet paper shortage and all the rest. And then I look at the numbers, and the numbers say 59% of Americans agree with the 70% marginal tax rate, including Jedediah, 45% of Republicans, 60% of independents, 70% of Democrats. And here's the thing, we're talking about her. The Washington Post says that she is now the zeitgeist of American politics because she rivals Donald Trump. She's second only to Trump in terms of politicians and their Twitter handles. And of course, you know that when people are asked if they would vote for her versus Trump, Trump gets 43%, she gets 40%, 17% undecided. So if she was 35, your age, right?
Mm-hmm.
And eligible to run for president, she would be a really strong candidate.
Mm-hmm. Jed, you think so?
I disagree.
Of course, on Fox you have to disagree with everything. But here's the ironic thing. We're going to be going to this clip next. So Judy, as long as you got it on there, let it roll, because this is AOC, where they
ran on a platform to abolish ICE
and
and aims to tax the wealthy more than 70% after they make $10 million. So what do the voters in Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's district think about her so-called radical, or dare I say different proposals? Our next guest went to find out.
She believes that we should tax the rich 70%. Do you agree with that?
I am all for it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
They make so much money.
Yeah.
Tax them.
Too low. Too low. So what would you suggest?
90%.
She also says that ICE has become a big problem, and we should get rid of ICE.
Yeah.
Do you support that?
I do.
I don't know about defunding it. Maybe major changes, radical changes.
All right, that's not all they had to say. Fox News contributor, campusreform.org editor-in-chief, Lawrence Jones here. Lawrence, you went out to New York City to find out how people feel about her new proposals.
Yeah, I went straight to her district, and the people believe in her. They believe in wealth redistribution. People work very hard in this country. I grew up poor, and my mother and father always said, you're working hard so you can be in a different tax bracket. Now they believe in when you work hard, you can take that money and give it to the poor. We're a generous country, and this socialism that she's advocating for that we often see on the college campuses at Campus Reform, she is now pushing. Her district supports it. People should be afraid.
The mindset of billionaires is a failure to society because no one should have that much money.
Right.
And that if you did get a lot of money, perhaps you stole it or got it illegally.
That's
or you
exactly
don't deserve it.
Yeah, and you're guilty of it, and you need to be prosecuted, and we need to take your money and give it to other people.
I don't know what's scarier, her policies or the fact that so many people agree with her.
A lot of people believe her, and then we go longer into the conversation, and the people said, and you'll see in this package, that it's more important to be morally right than factually right. Take a look.
So she said that it's more important to be morally right than factually correct. Right. Do you agree with that statement?
Overall, yes. That's a slippery slope. It's a little difficult to justify that in every situation.
It's important to be morally right. If we can get our facts straight, then great, but we make mistakes.
Okay, I don't even know what that last guy said.
Yeah, don't worry about the facts. Just be morally right. And this is that emotion generation. Again, a lot of conservatives and Republicans laughed at Ocasio-Cortez. I don't think this is a laughing matter. She is winning when it comes to drawing more people in. I think we should be concerned, especially for the younger generation, which I cover all the time. She may not win the next two presidential elections, but there is a swing to socialism, and she's getting a lot of support. We should take her seriously.
And I asked you before you sat down here, when you go out on the street, you have to talk to a lot of people. That was the prevailing sentiment. She has a lot of support.
Not one person disagreed with her.
Not one.
Not one. She is representing her district. I would take her very seriously. They support this woman because they believe that she's fighting for them.
She's connected nationally. She's connected locally.
That's exactly right. Remember the last representative that was there for 20 years? They didn't see him in their district. Joe Crowley, I think his name was. He was an incumbent, a leader in the House. They don't like that they don't see their representative. Now that she shows up, she's one of them, they feel this connection with her, and they're going to bag her 100%, which means that we got to expose every single thing that she stands for and the radical ideology that will affect poor people and the rich.
Challenge it.
You got to challenge it. You got to challenge it on the college campuses as well. You can no longer ignore socialism. They are getting steam.
Guys, you heard it right. No longer can you ignore socialism. And why? Hey, we all benefit. Socialism is sharing. And what a lot of people don't understand that. And guys, I got to be honest with you. Growing up in the 60s, I was scared of socialism and communism when I was going to St. Matthew's with the nuns telling us how evil the communists were. And I guess it's just something that takes a long time to grow out of. I used to think socialism was the pits, the depths. Some of you want to had nothing to do with. But guys, Judy, how much time do we have left? Hello?
We have 3 minutes.
All right. Guys, what we're going to do is we're going to go out with a clip on Tesla Energy and how profitable and valuable the new green energy that AOC wants to bring around is coming. And guys, you know, we talked about on the show, we talked about Elon Musk's battery in Australia. Well, guys, not only do they work, but they saved them, I think, over $30 million. And you're going to say, Reg, how could batteries save that much money? Guys, because you no longer have to pay the peak rate. They don't have to fire up other generators, you know, to make more electricity. It follows the flow of the energy output. So guys, let's not take my word for it. Let's see how much money Tesla and the new green energy is going to save people and why AOC has the right ideas. And Judy, at the end, you can run the credits and we can thank Martino's for taking good care of us. All right, hit it, Judy. No, clip number 40. Not number 39, number 40. All right? There you go.
In California is expected to debut in the near future. The company has already solved South Australia's blackout issues by installing their battery facilities in under 90 days. The Tesla battery pack was a massive success and performed well, possessing the ability to supply 100 megawatts of power in just 140 milliseconds. The energy prices for on-grid demand response services went down 90% in the first 4 months of operation.
90%
Furthermore,
reduction,
the state saved $35 million in that same 4-month period.
The state's premier unveiled the giant battery which is powered by a nearby wind farm. Australia is a major exporter of coal and is considered one of the world's worst greenhouse gas polluters. A freak storm last year caused a statewide blackout, highlighting the unreliable supply of electricity. The billionaire business tycoon Elon Musk offered to build the battery.
It's an exciting development. Electricity storage has kind of been the holy grail for the whole power business for 200 years now. Wind and solar produce their electricity when they want, not necessarily when we want. And so some way of storing the excess that they're producing has been something we've looked for many years.
The Hornsdale Power Reserve, or Tesla Big Battery, has been mocked by critics since day one.
By all means, have the world's biggest battery, have the world's biggest banana, have the world's biggest prawn, like we have on the roadside along highways around the country. But that's not solving the problem.
The naysayers said it was a waste of money, but this big battery is already playing a key role in stabilising the grid. And it's doing so with a speed, precision and agility that's never been seen before. This is the market operator's instruction. This is the response of a conventional power station. The battery is far swifter and more accurate, while undercutting the price big power generators charge for these frequency
Guys, I want to thank Judy for directing. Kurt did a beautiful job
competition to a very concentrated
helping out with the
electricity market.
Sound and everything. And we want to thank Martino's. They supply us with a pizza every week. So if you're ever in the area, stop by and say hi to Marco.
So it's clear that things suddenly seem to be changing. But why? What